Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. Before we get out of here, and where I want to start right now, I want to start with that man right there, Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes, okay? And it's funny, another game that we did a quick reaction to, but I want to dive in deeper. But this one had big vibes of Kentucky Ole Miss from this perspective. Colorado came in at one point last week, they were a 15.5-point underdog. As you can see on the screen, they closed at a 12.5-point underdog, but they were close to a 2-touchdown underdog, depending on where you got the game, okay? And if you watch the game, it was no different than Kentucky. Colorado scores early, then UCF scores, and then the rest of the game, Colorado absolutely dominated the UCF Golden Knights. UCF came into the game 3-0. UCF came into the game, the number one rush offense in the country, and Colorado absolutely shuts them down. Colorado throws the ball all over the field. The run game is great. And here is my question for you, because I know people are going to get mad. Torres, you never say anything but positives about Coach Prime in Colorado. Well, one, if you cannot see that this team is much improved, I can't help you. I can't help you. I'm sorry. But two, here is the bigger thing. If you look at the Big 12, we are not to October 1st yet. There are two undefeated teams in the Big 12 right now. Iowa State and BYU, credit to both of them. But there are two undefeated teams. Everybody else has at least one loss. And my simple question for you is this. Why can't Colorado, in a wide open league, be a Big 12 title contender? It might sound crazy, but it isn't if you just watch the games and you just pay attention. So first of all, let's talk about this game. Bottom line, I said it in the instant reaction, but I want to dive in deeper. Colorado's most complete effort of the Coach Prime era. Last year, they won games. They had to score 1 million points. I thought the Colorado State game 2 weeks ago was probably the most complete effort until this point, but this was even better. Okay, so first of all, we'll get to Shador in a second. We'll get to Travis Hunter, who, if he isn't your Heisman Trophy winner or Heisman Trophy favorite right now heading into October, you don't know what you're watching. But let's talk about everything else. Because first off, the haters, the casuals, what were they saying 2-3 weeks ago? Oh, it's a great quarterback, a great skill position guy, and nothing else. Well, guess what happened on Saturday, okay? Guess what happened on Saturday? First off, Colorado, second time in 3 weeks, they hit the 100-yard rushing mark. Saturday, 128 yards rushing, 4.5 yards per carry. The O-line's coming together. It's not a finished product, but I go back to week 1. I think about North Dakota State. There was that big play at midfield. They couldn't get the 1 yard they needed to get a first down in the first half of the first game. Well, they're moving people up front, okay? Like I said, 128 yards rushing, 4.5 yards per carry. The O-line is finally starting to figure it out, and that is big. We know what that does for a passing game. Also worth noting, the defense is getting after dudes. And listen, Torres gets a lot of stuff wrong, so I got to take L's left and right. Listen, Torres takes L's left and right. No doubt about it. But at the same time, this defense, the one thing I said, if you pay attention to the portal stuff, they got a lot of dudes coming in that are playmakers. BJ Green was all Pac-12 at Arizona State last year. Sam Okunlola, who actually Coach Prime said hasn't been playing his best football, was one of Pitt's best defensive players last year. By the way, Deion Hayes, who's been playing phenomenally, was one of Pitt's best defensive players last year. So they had guys coming in. They had a couple nice pieces, Levante Bentley, etc. And I'm telling you, man, this defense is getting after people. First off, here are the stats. This is incredible. Not incredible, but very good. 13 TFLs in this game, 5 sacks. They are blowing things up in the backfield and making plays on the defensive side of the football, okay? So credit where it's due. Oh, by the way, as you can see on the bottom of the screen, listen, Producer Matt, thank you. I didn't even tell Producer Matt this. If you're watching on YouTube, UCF came into the game averaging 375 yards rushing per game. That was tops in college football. I don't care who you play. When you're averaging close to 400 yards rushing, you're doing something right. Colorado gave up 177 yards rushing. Basically, what is that? That's essentially half of what they were averaging coming in. Dominated the game, forced fumble recovery late. Defense is awesome. And then the pass game, it goes without saying. There's nothing else for me to add. Hyperbole, we're past the hyperbolic stuff at this point. Travis Hunter is the best player in college football. Travis Hunter is unbelievable. How about this? Travis Hunter, worst game of his career, or worst game of his season, I should say, at wide receiver, only had 9 catches for 89 yards. Bummer. What a scrub. Yeah, I'm being sarcastic. He's awesome. Okay, that's his worst game at wide receiver. Still got a touchdown and had an interception in this game. And listen, I don't want to I don't want to oversell the Heisman stuff in whatever it is, September 29th, but he's doing stuff that we have never seen before. I went back and we talked about Charles Woodson last week. Charles Woodson had like 14 catches the year he won the Heisman. Deserved it. Not underselling what he did. But Travis Hunter had 9 catches. That was his worst game the other day. Had 11 catches a few weeks ago against Colorado State. Shedeur, I believe he's the best quarterback in college football. I tweeted it out. By the way, shout out Deion Sanders Jr., who gave me a retweet on Saturday night. I think Shedeur is the most talented quarterback in college football. And you look at what he can do, the pinpoint accuracy, the deep ball, the short passes, the comeback routes. I'm not a QB expert, but the gifts he has are second to none. And everyone says, oh, who has Colorado played? Well, give me the opposite. Give Shedeur the same that whatever Quinn Ewers has, Carson Beck has, Jalen Milroe has. Dude, it's going to be whatever. Give him the same O-line, whatever. But the bottom line is this kid is as good as anybody. And that receiver core, and I thought Brock Huer did a good job of talking about this on the broadcast. That receiver core is better than people realize. Like, everybody talks about Ohio State, Texas, whatever. LeJontay Wester was a 1,000-yard receiver a year ago at FAU. Jimmy Horn can break plays on any given play. Will Shepard, by the way, was Vandy's leading receiver, like 67, 68 catches in the SEC last year. They got guys everywhere. And Shedeur is getting the ball out and everything. And so I'm so excited about this team. And I'm just going to say it. I think they're a Big 12 title contender. Now, in part, because everybody's a Big 12 title contender at this point. We're through September. There's 16 teams in the league. Now, there are 4 0-2 teams, Oklahoma State, Baylor, Houston, and Kansas. There's 3 2-0 teams in the league, BYU, Colorado, and Texas Tech. But I just bring it up because if you look at this schedule, tell me the games that are impossible. Everybody has problems and issues in this league, okay? So you're 4-1 right now. You're 2-0 in the Big 12. You get a bye. You play Kansas State at home in a couple weeks, okay? Everyone's going to tell you how great Kansas State is. Oh, Kansas State got right against Oklahoma State on Saturday. Kansas State is also 1-1 and should be 0-2 on the road. They got embarrassed by BYU a few weeks ago. They should have lost to Tulane a few weeks before that. That is a game Colorado can win. I don't know if they'll be favored. I don't really care. They weren't really favored against UCF. Arizona, to their credit, looked much better on Saturday against Utah. They pulled off the upset, but let's see if they can keep that consistent. That's 3 weeks from now. And then, oh, by the way, on top of that, you have Cincinnati, you have Texas Tech. Texas Tech is actually playing really good football right now, but I don't know that I'm sold that Texas Tech can keep it up. Utah, I think, is the big one, right? Utah is a situation where you're going on the road, or you get Utah in a game where what I think is interesting about Utah right now, we're just trying to figure out what's Cam Rising's deal. You do get Utah at home. Forgive me. I think I just said they're on the road, but look at Utah. Without Cam Rising, they haven't been that great. Now, they bullied Oklahoma State a few weeks ago, but on Saturday, they couldn't do anything against Arizona. And if you can get up on them, like you know that Colorado is capable of, they're beatable. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with Cam Rising. Kansas, and then Oklahoma State. Neither of those teams is playing very good football right now. And so I look at this Colorado team. I'm here to tell you, if you don't believe yet, you better start believing. Because when I see this team, when I see this schedule, this is a wide open league. Utah, who I thought was unbeatable coming into yesterday, loses to Arizona. Arizona, who I thought was terrible, looks awesome. But Kansas State at home isn't unbeatable. By the way, you could argue the 3 toughest games left on the schedule are all at home. Kansas State at home, Oklahoma State at home, and Utah at home. Now, again, we'll see with Arizona. Arizona looked better, and Texas Tech is a very tough place to play. But I am here to tell you, if you don't think this team can mess around and win the Big 12, I don't know what to tell you.